Mr. Presidency, Excellencies, friends, it is always a pleasure to be here and to interact with you. Today I want to bring the voices of human rights defenders directly to the Council. This is a venue where their presence should be integral to its functioning, yet their access is increasingly restricted. Human rights defenders are ordinary people doing extraordinary work, engaged at once in the struggle for a better world and the dance of their own lives. They work with the unstoppable energy of hope. The title of my report speaks for itself. Defending dignity and claiming rights. Human rights defenders hold firm to universal values as others desert them. For this report, I received an unprecedented 300 plus submissions from human rights defenders in 82 countries and territories. Human rights defenders have demanded to be heard at a time when states surrendered their values on the altar of security, chauvinism, authoritarianism, and tradition. While governments renege on their international human rights commitments and send us off spinning, of course, it is left to human rights defenders around the world to keep alive the promise of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We all need freedom from fear and freedom from want, the twin pillars of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These pillars guarantee the equality and dignity inherent in every human being. Human rights defenders promote and protect that right and that dignity, the same dignity that we are privileged to have for ourselves here in this room and would not want denied. The human rights defenders understand that human rights are inseparable from daily living and that if we have them, we must all work so that others do too. Nowhere is the unshakable motivation of human rights defenders clearer than in the words of a children's rights activist from Somalia, who said in his submission, "I defend human rights because I cannot stand by while children are cut or married off before they are even teenagers." For me, this is not Western ideology as extremists accuse. It is simply love, dignity, and the right to a future. Yet this work is being undermined by consistent failures in political will, the near total subordination of values to interests, ever-increasing power grabs by authoritarian governments, and the massive funding cuts, which have pulled the rug from under so many human rights organizations and individuals. In gender apartheid Afghanistan, where women and girls have been erased by the Taliban and left with nothing, a woman-led NGO has had to suspend or limit their services to children and women who are under severe psychological pressure due to deprivation, violence, discrimination, and social crisis. It has also increased the risks human rights defenders face. The Kennedy Institute for Forest and Environmental Studies in Peru noted that because of funding cuts, in many cases we have had to sacrifice protection measures for the institution staff in order to continue with the cases. Many states perceive human rights defenders as the problem, and instead of trying to address the issues that they highlight, they try to silence them. No one is born a human rights defender. They are sculpted into one by the injustice that they witness in society. Consider, for instance, the human rights defenders working in the Arcana Women's Center in India, in Kerala, who saw gender-based violence on a daily basis, but, and I quote, "Working with women, youth, and families has shown us how defending rights is not abstract. It can transform someone's safety, health, and opportunities." All states must do better in consistently upholding human rights and consistently condemning violations wherever they take place and whoever the identity of the perpetrator is. Yet so too must the institutions designed to promote and protect human rights. Ever-growing numbers of human rights defenders are turning to the UN for support as their domestic pathways for accountability and justice narrow. Such mechanisms must become more responsive, more agile, and more urgent. Human rights defenders have laid out in this report some of the changes they believe that are necessary in the human rights architecture to make it more effective. Many of these are changes in process rather than ones which require huge sums of money. Notwithstanding the challenges facing the special procedures and other mechanisms, as my 6 years in this role draws to a close, I would urge caution in any attempt to hollow out special procedures or pare back on their independence. We all understand, given budget constraints, changes must happen, yet it strikes me that it is one of the few international mechanisms left which can bring out remote and marginalised voices and act to uphold human rights without undue political influence and untouched by double standards. Mandate holders given their time freely, and in a world where so much public cynicism exists around high salaries of public officials, both nationally and internationally, this is something to be fought for. Dear friends, you are good people, and we are all in this together. There is always something one can do as a government official to help protect a human rights defender. The atrocities of the world have numbed us and made us helpless and hopeless at times. But ways can be found to better protect human rights defenders. I've had many examples of good people in ministries, in embassies, who are human rights defenders themselves when they have taken action rooted in their values and in their place. They do not become part of a managed retreat on human rights. I understand as a society that there is a societal initiative in Geneva that would see a coming together of not only states, but civil society, academia, media, and other actors to reaffirm their respect of and adherence to international law without exception. And at such a time of crisis, I urge you to support it. I am sometimes deeply ashamed to be human. When I see the unending insanity and barbaric savagery around the world and the peaceful, persistent, relentless efforts and quiet resilience of human rights defenders working within the standards to which you have all agreed. We didn't make them up. Only to be killed, disappeared, criminalized in many cases for decades, to get them out of the way, physically attacked, tortured, intimidated, or smeared. I think human rights defenders have a kind of mystical spirit. That spirit is captured in the words of Betty Carina, who was murdered in Oaxaca. She said, "Today we want to live another history. We are rebelling and we are saying enough is enough. Today and here, we want to say that they are afraid of us because we are not afraid of them, because despite their threats, despite their harassment, despite their slander, we continue to walk towards the sun, which we think shines brightly." Thank you.